Good morning, my beautiful brothers and sisters in Yeshua. Today is Tuesday, the 19th of August 2025. It is 11:29 a.m. here in Australia. Hope you're doing very well and I hope you've been blessed. Little housekeeping before we get into this video. On Saturday, Saturday morning around 9ish something. I was at Bunnings and I was at the register paying for my stuff, and all of a sudden it sounded like a jet was coming down on top of the roof. And it turns out we had a 5.6 earthquake, so that was pretty interesting and exciting. But yeah, because we don't get those here, obviously, not in Queensland anyway. But anyway, so that was exciting. So yeah, me and the girls were like, "Woo, this is cool." Everyone else is freaking out, but anyway. So hopefully I shouldn't have any issues anymore with my videos just stopping. I think the problem was I had too many saved on my computer still, so I deleted all my old videos, whatnot. Okay, so I was just gonna jump into a bit of study again today and do my part two from the last video, because I noticed it ended on when I was going to show you the miracles of Paul and stuff. I went to go and have a look for my notes, my word pad, and yeah, I can't find it anywhere. So I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered to do a whole big more study about Paul. But I'm about 23 minutes into this video here. Basically, it's called The 13th Apostle, Paul, the Herodian Agent of Rome. And oh my goodness, I really have, no words to say. This guy lays it on the line. But I just wanted to show you something really quickly, because his video is 2 hours long. But just on this now, where are we? Okay, so he's just Googled the 12 tribes of Israel, okay? And it's come up, Judah is the American blacks, Benjamin is the West Indian blacks, Levi's, they're Haitians, Ephraim is Puerto Ricans, okay, and so on and so forth. But anyway, the subject we're talking about is Benjamin, because Paul claims he's from the tribe of Benjamin, okay? This is where he F's up, because as this guy explains, the West Indians, and I've just quickly gone and researched myself to back up what he's saying, the West Indians are, okay, so the West Indians is here, the Caribbean Americans, okay? The Caribbean Americans, and it is the largest Caribbean, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad, Barbados, Puerto Rico, US Virgin Islands, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that is not a white Roman. Paul's trying to get away with this. So anyway, so this is what these people, where are we? Oh, I had a picture of what the people look like. Oh, hang on a sec. West. Okay, so this is who the West Indian black, the tribe of Benjamin. This is who we're talking about, brothers and sisters. The Jamaicans, these people. And anyway, so this guy goes on to explain that he's got a book. Oh, where is it? I can't play it because I'll get a copyright strike. There he's just showing what type of the people. Oh, here. Just sorry, bear with me. Anyway, there's these books, okay, and it basically Okay, sorry. Now, it basically explains what Paul actually looks like, okay? It says the physical appearance of Paul is described as an Edomite. Nicephorus claims that Paul was a little man, crooked and almost bent like a bow, with a pale countenance, long and wrinkled, and a bald head. In the Latin version of the Acts of Paul and Thecla, it is added that he had a red, florid face. So this guy had a bald head and red beard, brothers and sisters. He was an Edomite. In the history of the contending of St. Paul, his countenance is described as ruddy, with the ruddiness of the skin of the pomegranate. The Acts of St. Paul confirms that Paul had a bald and shining head. Anyway, I just wanted to make a little video this morning just for those of you who, because it's a huge claim. It's a huge claim that I've made that Paul is the false prophet that Jesus is talking about. And, and people may go, why? How could that be? How is, the Bible is the innate word of God and God wouldn't let that happen. Our Father in heaven acts solely and purely on free will, or lets us. Okay, we have the choice. If we're just going to be, sitting ducks and yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, whatever you say on the pulpit, sir, you do that. Okay, you do that. But if you're being convicted that something's not right here, and you've got to realize that this is top-notch evil. This is the cabal that has existed from the beginning. They're smart. They're going to, like I've always said, they realize that they couldn't win over Jesus. Okay, so like the saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. That is why they start Matthew 1:1 with claiming that Jesus is the son of David. Jesus is offended by this situation and this comment later on, okay? He is not the son of David. He has nothing to do with David. He came to show that, that the Israelites, the Jewish, actually not the Israelites, okay, because Israelites are these people here, okay, the Jamaicans and all the black people. That's your real Israelites. But the Jews, lost my train of thought, but I just wanted to bring something up because I wrote a note as I was watching this guy talk, and he's like, this Paul fella basically proclaims himself to be the 13th apostle. Okay, and you have to remember that there's the 13th tribe too, and that is the Edomites. Okay, the Edomites are the ones that, that's the cabal today, the Edomites. They don't have an inheritance, so they're going to be damn well trying and stop everybody else from getting that inheritance, okay? So, yeah. And what else did I want to show you about Paul? Oh yeah, here's that chart again. St. Paul was related to Herod. He slips up in the book of Mark, basically, and shows his lineage. And, here we are, Herodian of Patras. Herodian of Patras, also known as Herodian or Rhodian, has been thought by some to have been a relative of St. Paul, as in a greeting Paul calls Herodian a son Ginus, I don't know, in Romans 6:11. Okay, but anyway, so yeah, so this is like, this guy's put an image of Paul here, and that is more than likely who Paul looked like. Okay, it didn't look like, and like the reason I'm telling you this is because Paul claims he's from the tribe of Benjamin. All right, and I had no idea. Well, I've always known that the real Israelites are definitely not the white Jews that are residing in Israel at the moment. Okay, it's definitely not them. They're the parasites, not the people, but like Netanyahu and all, and all the other people running the show. And whatnot. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this one thing here. Oh yes, so the miracles of Paul, right? As that's one thing I was talking about. Let's just do this before we do miracles of Paul. Let's go. Come on. New tab to the right. I want to do Bible Gateway and show you what Jesus warns to look out for. Okay, so, and then we'll have a look at the miracles of Paul and see if it was what Jesus was saying look out for. Okay, so Jesus answered him, said, "Take heed that no man deceives you. For many shall come in my name, saying that I am Christ, and shall deceive many." Okay, who would one person be that has claimed the most, has deceived the most people on earth? Literally, Paul. Okay, if what I'm saying is correct, it's literally Paul. Paul has caused. Anyway, let's continue on. And you shall hear of wars and rumours of wars, see that you're not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, blah, 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 blah. These are all the beginning of sorrows, blah, blah, blah. Many false prophets shall arise and deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. This is talking about 70 AD, brothers and sisters. Hang on. Where is it? Oh, yeah, here. And if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there he is, believe it not. What is the first thing that Paul claims happened? Oh, there he is. I see him in the sky. Mind you, he never seen Jesus in person to person. This is a vision that this dude has. Nobody else has seen him. Like, what was the purpose in Jesus doing that? If that was true. Jesus says that 2 or 3 witnesses, you need 2 or 3 witnesses for these things. So, but Paul miraculously had this vision of Jesus, and his mates were like, they didn't say nothing. Anyway, so there shall arise false Christs, false prophets, and show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it was possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Okay, so showing great signs and wonders, and like miracles and stuff. Okay, behold, I've told you this before. And if they say to you, behold, he's in the desert, this is literally where Damascus is. Do not go forth. Behold, he's in the secret chambers. Believe it not. For as the lightning comes out of the east and shines to the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be, which was in 70 AD. For wherever the carcass is, there the eagles be gathered together. Okay, so there we have, we've got him in the desert. Don't go there. If they say Christ is here, believe him not. Okay, because Jesus told you there's no greater prophet or man than John the Baptist. Okay, prophet. That's it. Everything ends with John the Baptist, because John the Baptist was the person who made the road straight and narrow for the coming of Jesus. There's nothing after Jesus. There's no more messages after Jesus. This is why Paul keeps going on, it's my gospel, because it is. He's literally changed what Jesus came to say, which is everybody else is cool. But you guys, you Jews, you are lost because your father is the devil. Okay. Oh, that was just a car backfiring, not a gunshot. Okay. Jesus says your father is the devil. He's a liar and a murderer from the beginning. And Jesus came to save the lost people of Israel. Nobody else, brothers and sisters. Everybody else is cool because we're all children of our Almighty God, Father in heaven. the real Father in heaven, source. Okay, but yes, this Jesus told, many people asked him, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to be saved? And he literally says, just love Father with all your heart, soul and mind, and love each other as yourself. Because everything else will fall perfectly. And this is why I'm so big on the whole love and light thing, is because, it's not a new age philosophy. It's an ancient age philosophy, This is from the day dot. This is what creates beauty in the world, is love. Anyway, let's have a look at the miracles of Paul now, okay? Because this is interesting. So, I'll read them all, to be fair. So Acts 13:11. Now behold, the hand of the Lord is upon you, and you will be blind and not see the sun for a time. And immediately a mist and a darkness fell upon him. Something's just occurred to me then. What did Jesus do? He cured blindness. So why now is he making Paul blind? Okay, immediately a mist and a darkness fell upon him, and he went about seeking those who would lead him by the hand. Okay. Said with a loud voice, stand upright on your feet. And he leapt up and began to walk. Acts 16:18. She continued doing this for many days, but Paul was greatly annoyed and turned and said to the spirit, I command you in the name of Jesus Christ to come out of her. And it came out at that very moment. I'll have to look into that. Acts 19:11-12. Now this is what I want to talk about. God was performing extraordinary miracles by the hands of Paul, so that handkerchiefs or aprons were even carried from his body to the sick, and the diseases left them, and the evil spirits went out. This is the miracles Jesus was talking about, because check this out. When I say to you the words handkerchief or apron, what is it that you immediately, in your conspiracy mind, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Handkerchiefs or aprons? The Freemason. The Freemasons, brothers and sisters. Okay, I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, Paul is the false prophet. Okay, Paul is the false prophet that has led many, many, many astray. Think of all the killings around the world since that time that have been done in the name of what Paul's written, not by what Jesus has said. Okay, think of all the killings in the world that have been done under the name of God have only been from the Old Testament Bible and from Paul's writings, not from the mouth and words of our loving Jesus, Yeshua. Okay, because nothing Jesus said was worthy of war or killing or hate. It's only the two feral, parasitic bookends that sit upon Jesus' truth and perfectness, which is the Old Testament and all of the New Testament except for Jesus' words. Literally, brothers and sisters, that's how they do it. And they throw in some truth in there. And that's why, yes, I will quote from Paul sometimes. Because just because someone's evil doesn't mean they can't make a true statement. And when it's true, it's true, okay? Like, for example, somebody wrote on my thing, I agree with you about Paul, but then the next minute you quoted from him. The thing is that's a perfect example, because the quote I was talking about was the twinkling of an eye, okay? And the reason I bring that up is because every single faith and every culture and every belief ends with an event that happens in a moment. So it's kind of like there's truth in there, But, anyway, these people, I mean, look, who was the original stonemason, brothers and sisters? Cain. Cain, okay? He was the first one to pick up a stone and crack his brother's head open. And then, anyway, this was a way to leave their mark around, because remember, they're wanderers. Cain had a mark on him that he would forever wander the earth and never ever have a home. And it is said that actually Cain is today what we would call Bigfoot. I heard that the other day. I thought that's pretty funny. But apparently this Bigfoot has told somebody, yes, I am Cain, and I'm, absolutely, what's the word? He's just so devastated because he can't die. Apparently that's the curse. He hasn't been able to die. He's lived through all of this, which is kind of like, that's really what hell is a torment in your mind. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Like I said, I just wanted to show you those things. And where's that bit in the Bible where it talks about something about, you can be bitten by a serpent and you'll be fine, because that was added. Here we go. Okay, yeah, oh, well, there you go. So this is the context. This is Mark 16, 17 to 19. Oh, okay. And these signs shall follow them that believe. This is Paul's influence here. Okay. And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. So then after the Lord had spoken to them, he was received up into heaven and sat on the right hand of God. Brothers and sisters, I have showed you, and I'll show you again in a sec, to double down on how important this is. I have told you that the book of Mark, chapter 16, is the last chapter in Mark. But from verses 9 to 20, it is all been added. So this thing here, which is so many Christians are striving so hard for, because they're like, how come I can't cast out devils? How come I can't be bitten by a snake and live? And this is why all these horrible religious type, cultish deaths happen when they keep their kids at home, because they're like, no, Jesus is going to heal, and we just have to have the faith, and that, they don't get the medical attention that they need, and all this fanatical stuff. Okay, look, I'll show you. Was Mark 16:9? Yeah, it's already up there. Okay, this first thing. Okay, so I asked, was Mark 16:9 to 20 added? Yes, many scholars believe that Mark 16:9 to 20 was added later and is not part of the original text written by Mark. This is supported by the absence of these verses in some of the earliest manuscripts of the New Testament. Brothers and sisters, what does it say? If you want to believe in all your books and your book of Revelation and stuff, well, then go to your book of Revelation and read there that, what does it say? That if anyone changes anything, even the dot of an I or the cross of a T, whatever, that they're going to lose out on their part of the book of life. This is some serious schnizzles that we're looking at here. Some serious schnizzles, whatever the hell that is. But it's serious, okay? Because there's quite a lot. And see, look, let's have a look where Mark ends, so you can see why this is so important. Let's just go to the book of Mark, read the full chapter. Okay, we will go extra large, right? Let's just read all of Mark 16. This is the last chapter. Okay, and when the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Salome had brought sweet spices that they might come and anoint him. And very early in the morning of the first day of the week, they came up to the sepulchre, whatever that, at the rising of the sun. And they said among themselves, "Who shall roll away the stone from the door of the sepulchre?" And when they looked, they saw that the stone was rolled away, for it was great. Okay, and entering into this sepulchre, they saw a young man sitting on the right side, clothed in a long white garment, and they were frightened. And he said to them, "Be not affrighted, ye seek Jesus of Nazareth, which was crucified. He is risen. He is not here. Behold the place where they laid him. But go your way, tell his disciples and Peter that he goeth before you into Galilee. There shall you see him, as he said unto you." And they went out quickly and fled from the sepulchre, for they trembled and were amazed. Neither said they anything to any man, for they were afraid. That is the end of Mark 16. It tells you they didn't go. They said neither of those two women said anything to any man, for they were afraid. There you go. That's the end of it. We don't get the resurrection story. We don't get the ascension story. We don't get any of that. We don't get any of that. And it's well known that, that Jesus went, off to France and all the places. Like, I've shown you videos years ago where, what's his name? Joseph of Arimaeus. Okay, that's the guy who gave Jesus his tomb, I believe. The rich guy. His graveyard is in England. Jonah, you know how he was supposed to go to Nineveh and he went, nah, thanks, and went to Tarshish, is it? Tarshish? Whatever. Tartus? Whatever it was. Anyway, Tartus is Britain. This is, and that's where they have tin, and that's where tin was first sort of found and all this kind of stuff. Brothers and sisters, we've been lied to about location. It's all about location, and they're very smart. They're very smart. They, you've got to remember that these Jews, these original, Edomites, they believe that they're the chosen people. And they believe they have the chosen God and only them, and they can have their God. Let them have their God, brothers and sisters. And this is not a good God. But yeah. So hang on, I just want to, let's read on. So this is what's added. Now, when Jesus was risen early the first day of the week, he first appeared to Mary Magdalene, out of whom he had cast 7 devils. And she went and told them that had been with him, as they mourned and wept. And they, when they had heard that he was alive and had been seen of her, believed not. After that he appeared in another form unto 2 of them, as they walked and went into the country. Now, what's the purpose of all of that? What's the purpose of all of that, brothers and sisters? Like, that makes absolutely no sense. And because he's used to, like, Peter's doubting, and he's used to all of that stuff. So there's no point in trying to trick him and see. I mean, if the crucifixion really happened the most graphic way that it happened, of course you wouldn't believe. No one's ever seen someone come back to life, you know what I mean? Or actually, that's not true, because 4 days before Jesus' death, Lazarus was brought to life. And anyway. So, and they went and told it to the residue, neither believed them. Afterwards he appeared unto the 11 as they sat at meat, and upbraided them with their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they believed not them which had seen him after he was risen. And he said unto them, go unto all... See? So there's this whole story here. You get that, that the women went and told the men, and that no one believed them, and then they went and told more people, and no one believed them, and then the women were like, rah, 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 scold, 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 you hardness of heart people, you unbelief, blah, blah, blah. And then there's no proof. There's no, proof to this. It doesn't say, and then Jesus came and said, hey, how you going? It's really me, yay. And everyone's like, yay. It's not even there. And then it says, and he said to him, go unto all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Okay, he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. See, this is another huge one, brothers and sisters. How many times have you heard, what is the gospel, or what do I have to do to be saved? And people will quote this: he that believes and is baptized. This whole water baptism, that's all Freemasonry. That's all to do with, comes from the tabernacle right from the beginning, brothers and sisters. The whole ritual. Let's have a look. I'll show you. What was it called? The tabernacle? Tabernacle. I think, yeah, this is the one. All right. So yeah, it's a whole ritual, brothers and sisters. So you've got first, I don't know, it looks like they've got the fire there, and then they've got the, this is where the baptism comes from, okay, from this thing. They're basically doing a Pontius Pilate. I'm washing my hands of any sin and any evil that I've done, because at this time, all these people were, they could sin as much as they like, because, the priest would slaughter 50 million doves and lambs and cows and all sorts of animals and say, this covers the sins of the people. What a effed up system. And that, Christians still to this day will die to be a part of Israel, to be grafted into Israel. Brothers and sisters, this is not good. Not good at all. Okay, the whole thing is sacrificial. Why was I even telling you that? I can't remember why I was telling you that, but yeah. And then, like I was saying, sorry. That's what I was saying. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. So you've got all these people, the amount of times when I look back when I was a hardcore rapture person, and I'd be telling people, you have to be baptized. If you're not baptized, you can't be saved. Oh my goodness, so much damage has been done by this gospel, this false gospel by Paul and the Herodians, which are they just go from one parasitic family to the next, and it just reincarnates in every generation, in every group of people. Thank thank Father in heaven that we're coming to the end of this, because this is, yeah, and these signs shall follow them that believe. So, in other words, how many people are thinking, oh my goodness, because like for me, and thank you so much, Father, that I was never, 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 never one of those tongues that, speaking in tongues people. I always knew from the beginning that was demonic and freaking weird. Babbling. It all comes back to the babbling of confusion and, yeah, anyway, these signs will follow them that believe. They're going to cast out devils. They'll speak with new tongues. They'll take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. And they shall lay hands on the sick, and they will recover. How many times have you prayed for someone or done something and, nothing's happened, and you're like, oh, I mustn't be faithful enough. And my goodness, let us come out of her, my people. So then, after the Lord had spoken unto them, so what? He's here now. Jesus is here now. He was received up into heaven and sat on the right hand of God. And they went forth and preached everywhere. So why is the story different in in Matthew and Luke now too? Because all different things happened. Jesus is walking through walls in one of them. Let's wake up, brothers and sisters. Let's wake up. This is a whole ritual. This is what when Jesus did take his last breath. I believe he was crucified. I believe they killed him, absolutely, because all the parables are, they make a lot of sense. It talks about the king, which represents the Father in heaven, and his son, who has the inheritance, and anyway, all of this back in the Old Testament thing, all the slaughtering of, this is why they had, how easy is that to have, just say, 1 million people, right, that are out in these tents and stuff, doing goodness knows what behind closed tent doors. Okay. You see what they did when Moses went up to the mountain. They were so impatient that they ended up building a golden calf with all the gold from the Egyptians, mind you, that came with them. And then they had a big orgy and a big, F-fest. Brothers and sisters, you've got to understand that these people, they honor God with their lips, but not with their heart. Their heart is... Anyway, I'm blabbing. But, it's amazing that, the high priest once a year, whatever, would come and, slaughter the cow, whatever, and then go into the so-called Holy of Holies, supposedly where God's presence is. Okay. And then, sprinkle blood, a cow's blood on it, and that's supposed to be, fixing the job of 1 million people's sins. It's crazy that we fall for this. I get it, because I love, the idea of, that's why I wonder why I've never become a Catholic, because I actually like the idea of the praying the rosaries, because it's the routine for me. I like that kind of thing. But rituals can be bad too. A lot of them are. But, I hope that you can see my point and at least not just dismiss it straight up because it sounds blasphemous. I know it does. And it's taken a lot of study, a lot of courage to tell you this. And the only reason I'm telling you this is not to make you angry or have doubts in your faith or whatever, but it is mainly, one is for me because I don't have a lot of, I really don't have any friends really, and I maybe see my parents once a week. So this is a good outlet for me, and my kids get sick of me blabbing on about this kind of stuff. And two, there's a handful of the 13,000 subscribers that I have that actually really value information that they can go and check and check reference themselves. I'm not here to convince you of anything. Believe me, if you want to love on Paul and obey his gospel, you do you. But please don't come into my comment section and telling everybody that, oh, this woman's taking you to hell and, be careful, we'll pray for you and all this kind of stuff. Just unsubscribe and don't even watch my videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, please, we're adults. Let's have a conversation. Let's ask questions, because you've got to realize, the deception doesn't go as far as, Satan tricked us about the shape of the earth and all this stuff. It goes much, 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 much deeper than that. And it has to do with the one thing that we would never think would be touched, and that is the Bible. The Bible, I believe, should have never been written. Ever. It should have never had to be written, okay? And, there's, like, for instance, in the book of Enoch, he says that he was the first one that this was one of the things that the fallen angels came down, was to show us papyrus and the art of writing things, because when you start writing things down, then you can change it. It goes from one story, a little bit gets, changed, then it gets passed down again, a little bit gets changed, passed down again. By the time we get it, at the end, it's so diluted, it's not even funny. And I just wanted to also just mention too, I don't think I'll do that in today's video. I'll leave this one shorter and just keep it about Paul. But I do want to do a video on the fact that the Tower of Babel, the flood, Sodom and Gomorrah have actual alternative stories. And the actual alternative stories are they were the good guys and not the bad guys. And really what was happening was not a bunch of homosexual orgies and whatever in Sodom and Gomorrah. What really was going down was these people in these cities were becoming far advanced and like realizing that they didn't need to be controlled anymore. And every time that happens in our society, in our existence, guess what happens? A reset. Because it's easy for them to reset if you understand what the world really is, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to find. It's this, okay? This is the real world we live in. This here is space. We're in the middle circle. We're the center of it all. And here's the land of Mars and Venus and the Palladians. This is what space is, brothers and sisters. And there's a little exit here. There's little exits around. Where is it? Yeah, one here and one here. I think this here is basically where the camp of the saints is, just beyond the ice wall. Okay, and I think that's... yeah. Oh, wow. I remembered something. Oh, I hope I've still got that video. Oh my goodness, yes. I have to have a look for it later. But the video went on to say that, is it Manhattan? Well, anyway, this video blew my mind because it was going on about the fact that Manhattan is actually, that's where it's been blocked off, and that is the entrance to the yellow brick road. That's right. In other words, the road that leads outside the ice wall. Yeah, I don't know if that made any sense. But yeah, I have to have a look. It's something to do with New York and Manhattan. That's why it's all, there's like ports there but with no businesses, or there's buildings there with no people in them, or something like that. It's really weird. Either or, we've been lied to about location. I know that for sure. I've always been sus on, well, New York is effectively York in England, that was the banking capital, whatever. It just effectively moved to, New York, and became the New York instead of the old York. Because they have to keep moving, brothers and sisters. They have to keep lying and deceiving about where they are, who they are, and what they're doing. Because people who live in love and truth will find out eventually and expose them, and then they have to reshuffle, usually reset. But the good thing is they won't do that this time. Okay, they can't do that this time because we're at the end of this, this cycle. So, let me just quickly go through all my things quickly. Yeah, go check out that video, this guy here. It's really cool. Really, really, really cool. So just you can just screenshot that and write it down. Yeah, so that's the real tribe of Benjamin. This is, a lot of stuff. I think I've gone through it in the last video, I'm not sure. What was that? Could the camp of the saints be at the land of Jesus? Yeah, this guy's awesome too, Jason Jack. He's really, really, really good. He does a lot of stuff with maps and, showing you that, like a lot of buildings and things like that, you would have the word J, which would, or I, which would represent in the year of our Lord, Jesus, and then they would have the date. So, for instance, if you were to write, let's go nice and big. If it was the year 536, you would write I for, Isis, because the letter J didn't come around until 500 years later or something. Okay, and then you would write 596, okay, for instance. So, or it would be J and then 596, like that. And what they did on all the old buildings is they whitewashed it and turned that I into a J, into a 1, sorry. And so therefore 1596, dyslexic. And therefore 596 then became overnight the year 1596. Do you see what I mean? That they did the whole Pope Gregory, where we get our calendar from today, they literally removed 11 days from October 4th to the 14th, I think. And it went from, October 4th, and then people went to bed, and the next day was October 15th or something like that. It was weird. And so there's 11 days removed from the calendar, and there's people still today that will go on the old calendar, the Julian calendar, which is 11 days behind. And that, oh, wow. Hang on, I have to do some calculations. I just remembered that. Okay, September. No. Okay, September the 23rd. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so wow, that's interesting. So if I use the 20th or the 24th, 11 days before the 24th is September 11, and that's Jesus's birthday pretty much. And when I used to do the videos with calendars a lot. Sorry, just having a stretch. Yeah, I think that's the reason why they did that. Why Pope Gregory moved the calendar 10 or removed those 11 days, brothers and sisters, because, and here we go again with the whole specialness of like a 10-day period. That's 10 days of awe. That's why, again, maybe I should put a mention in that September 23rd, 24th looks extremely high watch, but also that date could really be the original, the original Feast of Trumpets, which is on September 11. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all of that stuff, but yeah, that guy was really, really good at showing you the old Tartarian buildings and stuff like that. And that was all on my notepads, all the copying and pasting that I did and the writing, typing. Anyway, like I said, I just want to try and leave this video just about Paul. I might make another video tomorrow maybe, and I've been literally flat stick for 10 hours every day since Saturday, building a pool deck. I'm really super proud of it. And yeah, so I've been really loving that, but it's a bit cold and yucky outside today, so I thought I'd take the opportunity and jump on here and try and make that part 2 about about Paul, because it's pretty significant, I believe, and pretty important to really delve into this subject, because if what I'm saying is true, then it's huge, brothers and sisters. It's absolutely huge, and that could be the greatest deception of all time. Okay, so I will leave you with that, and I hope you do your own research, and I look forward to your comments. And yeah, so I will, actually, if you maybe want to put in your comments what you're actually interested in, I can put together a little video about, all the things that you guys are interested in, rather than me just blabbering on whatever. All right, I'll leave you with that. I hope you have a fantastic, wonderful day. I think we're very close to something going down. Like I said at the beginning of my video, we had an earthquake. That's very exciting. So we don't ever get that here, really. I think we had one here in 1914 was one. But anyway, yeah, I think we're living in the very exciting time, and I think we're going to be all together very soon. All right, love you. God bless you. And if I don't see you next video, I'll see you in the skies.